Okay, now if I open up the Roll20, hopefully you should get the option to open it up, assuming you haven't already.
Yep.
And hopefully if you open it up, it should link you into, or give you the option to join the campaign.
It's thinking about it.
Yeah, it does take a little while to load it up. I preloaded mine a few minutes ago, so.
Ah, here we go. Well met. Right, let's see if I can remember my details. I think those are my details. Shows how much I use Roll20.
Yeah, I've got to admit, mine was set up years ago. It took me ages to remember what it was, and then I reset it all once I got in.
Right, it's currently loading.
Cool.
That's good, because last time it didn't work for Within the Ring of Fire. It just wouldn't let me do it, so I had to do it in another tab.
Bizarre.
Right, there we go.
Oh yeah, I can see you in it.
With my mug.
Indeed. So hopefully you can see the sort of virtual tabletop I've knocked up on it.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to click on any of the sort of fate point jade tokens that are there and move them around. So I don't know if you, oh yeah, there we go. I can see that scooting across the screen.
Although that's not mine.
That's fine. Nice. Obviously, the idea being that when I do give you a fate point, instead of sort of like waving a thing at the screen, I can just go like that.
I love how many Batu's got.
Yeah, he has been sort of saving his for like the last 2 sessions, to be fair. So, plus he doesn't really have anything in the ways of assets really. Everything he's gone into improving his refresh. He's just got great more fate points.
How would you like the stress to be marked? Because you've done it as a counter, I've noticed.
Yeah. Well, basically, what you can do is if you right click on it, you should see 3 sort of coloured circles above it.
Yeah.
And then below it, there's another 2 circles. If you click on the one that looks like a lens, it'll bring up a number of things you can overlay on it. And I suggest just the X like that.
Oh, yeah, cool.
And then if you want to do
I couldn't see that because your big dice symbol was in the way.
I thought I'd turn that off. It's fine if you if you go on to the right, you should be able to see where the chat box.
Yeah, I know you can turn them off somehow.
Yeah, if you click on the cog for the settings near above where the chat box is.
Oh, here we go.
Somewhere on there's a setting that says player avatar size, and you can set it to names only, and that sort of gets rid of the graphics.
Oh yeah, here we go. Names only. Cool.
That should make it a bit easier to see that. That's how I've got it set up. Unfortunately, you can't get rid of them entirely, since obviously we don't really need them, because like you can see the people are on the bottom and when it's running in Google+, but that seems to be all you can do with it, unfortunately. One thing I did want to check is, I think I know how this works, but if you scroll up to like just above where the virtual tabletop is, can you see any symbols above the virtual tabletop?
No.
Splendid. That's absolutely cool then, because there's a sort of GM's layer of like I've just stuck some random pictures on just to see if it actually worked. With the idea being that I could do stuff like
and I've just worked out how to do fate dice. Although we're going to do it. Okay. Fair enough.
Just in terms of like easily keeping track of like if there's loads of like groups of baddies, and then as you, I'm sure, splat them with Ilan, I can just in the same way as with any other token.
Cool.
Okay, so let's do that back up there. Send it back to the GM layer. Okay. Yeah, in terms of how to do fake dice on it, I wouldn't worry about it because, to be honest, you can still have the fake dice roller at the side, and it seems to be a much sort of better looking user interface. And
also, then people can see it.
Well, exactly, and some of the people I've read a lot of posts on forums while I was trying to work out how to like work Roll20, and a lot of them were saying that the more sort of dice intensive stuff is used, the slower and slower it gets, especially when you're broadcasting. So it might be in our best interest to not have the actual dice rolls. Although they said a lot of it was to do with the whole 3D dice, which you can't really do with fake dice on it. It's only sort of more standard dice and Roll20.
So.
Yeah, that's a bit better. He does seem to have an odd habit of sort of occasionally like losing the order that things are in, which is a bit bizarre, but
There we go. Yeah, well, it works very well.
okay.
What about the jukebox? Well, okay, I can hear some, but like multiple layers of it.
That's extremely odd. Okay, let me try another one.
And to start with, it sounded like you just didn't have your headphones in, and it was playing out of your speakers. Unless that's what it's supposed to sound like.
No, I think that's my fault at this end. I don't think I plugged my push my headphones in far enough into the speaker. Try that again.
Yeah, that's better. That's
cool,
fine.
cool. And I've basically been through SoundCloud and like ragged it for everything that has the words traditional in Chinese in it and or Japanese.
Yep.
Now,
I hope you've got some taiko drumming in there somewhere.
I honestly have no idea because I've not actually been through and like listened to all of them. Some of them are quite massive tracks.
Oh, okay.
My plan is, since obviously we're dealing with the Four Winds tournament in the present day in the next session, is to try and look for some more sort of combat / sort of slightly high action music. The only unfortunate thing is there's no real way to put things into like playlists or anything like that in it. It's pretty much you load stuff up into a big list and it's just a big list in alphabetical order.
I thought there was a way to do that now, but
no, unfortunately the only way you can really do it is if you like name them. Sort of like, see, you call everything that you want to go in one playlist, like A dash something, then B dash something or whatever. And then obviously it sorts them together and you can do it that way, but it's still a bit of a pain in the arse to sort of slog through it all. I mean, I've got probably about 15 different tracks on here at the minute, some of which I'm sure I'll probably sort of listen to and go, no, that sounds a bit shit. I'll cut that out and just sort of stick to like one or two of them because they're all quite sort of long, so they wouldn't have to be like looped unnecessarily during an individual session. And then I can maybe just get a few smaller pieces, which is sort of like, for want of a better term, like combat music or sort of like slightly more sort of faster paced music. And the Chief's apparently going to locate me some suitable like video game music, since apparently he's a massive fan of like various video game soundtracks, which is fine.
I'm assuming he's going to give you some Final Fantasy stuff. Is he?
I'd assume so, to be honest. Which is fine. Obviously, it depends on which Final Fantasy it is, but obviously I'll have a listen through to it all before I add any, use any in the session.
Unfortunately, I can't think of any suitable soundtracks at the top of my head that would be from a video game.
No. Let me just see.
Because I never got into Final Fantasy.
I've played
right now.
I've played a couple of them, but also I don't really play many computer games, so I can't claim to be up on modern computer games or soundtracks or anything like that. I'm sure I can find something suitable on SoundCloud anyway, with a bit of judicious searching around. Considering the amount of tracks that have just come up when I typed in Kung Fu, so.
Yeah, and I bet there'll be tons of like Mongolian throat singing on there as well. If I could do throat singing, I would just provide all the soundtracks, but unfortunately I can't do it very well, and it really hurts.
To be fair, I'm sure you probably do it far better than me, so I'm not going to say anything.
I'm sure you could do it quite well. You need a lower voice.
Right,
there's a viral video of a guy that's just like sitting on a mountaintop with a little erhu, and he's like just throat singing to himself, and it's just like, you're so good.
It does sound pretty cool, I've got to admit. All right, so assuming we ever have a really creepy segment of Jade Punk, this might be applicable.
Is there a way for you to adjust the volume of individual songs?
Yeah, I don't know whether the volume adjustment carries over to you listening to it, though.
Yeah, it does. It does. Because all I've got is a master music, just one bar. And the first one was quite loud, so I turned it down. And then
I can turn it up like that, but I can also turn it right down like that.
Mm. Yeah, that
bass. Yeah, each of the I mean, I'll keep it fairly low in the session, obviously, but each of the tracks on the sort of big list I've got has its own separate sort of slide bar underneath the name of the track, so you can play like different tracks over each other if you wanted to, and set them at different volumes. It's pretty cool.
Aye.
So like I said, I could just do with a few slight tweaks to it to make it a little bit more user friendly and still a bit better in general. It's pretty good though. What's that music I downloaded? It's not that one. Random. Right now, from what I've been reading, the only way to actually broadcast the sort of tabletop, because I've tried it in a sort of with just me in a Hangout and recording it, and none of the tabletop shows up. It's just the video feed that shows up. Apparently, the only way to actually do that is because I've got to open another window now, is if I screen share it. I've got to find it. Okay. Yeah, apparently, if I do it like that on a screen share, and then obviously people actually watching should be able to see it. I have no idea whether that allows the music to carry over. I expect not. So I'm just going to try.
No, it won't.
No, I don't think it will, because I don't think screen share is built for that sort of thing. But that's fine, because that avoids any sort of unfortunate issues with copyright or anything like that from playing random music off sound, whatever it is. So let's see. Can you try moving some of the tokens around just so I can see how quickly it does it on my thing that I'm screen sharing?
Yes. I'm just oh, that's it. The only thing is it can get a bit confusing if I'm looking at your screen. Right, there we go. Okay, so now I'm moving them around.
Okay, yeah, I've just seen it move. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so it's it while I'm moving it around, but when it puts it down, it shows that I've moved it.
Yeah, that would seem to be the case. I did see it move, but it was sort of like very quickly, as in it sort of zipped across to obviously where you dropped it and then dropped the stuff down.
Yeah.
Let's see. So if I go into my screen share now, if I move that, can you see that moving?
Yeah.
Okay. And how about that? Excellent. In which case,
the only thing is, if you're screen sharing, you need to bear in mind if you've got anything hidden, then we'll be able to see it in effect.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, to be honest, I've not got anything super secretive on the the GM layer that I'm particularly bothered about anyone seeing. I've just basically got a few sort of silhouetted counters at the top here that could be used to represent groups of enemies if necessary. There's nothing particularly secret or anything. I mean, all my notes are stored on my plot wiki, so I've got no issues with that. So I'll stop sharing that and bring up the main one again. There we go. At least it's nice and quick to actually for me to hop between the screen share and the sort of in Google Hangouts app version. There doesn't seem to be any problem with me having both of them open at the same time, which is quite cool. And I've just seen you obviously crossing and uncrossing that.
Yes.
So what were you about to say?
What if I did this? No, I was just saying
you would have just denied yourself a precious fate point. That's what you'd have done.
What? Well, that's really hard to see, but lightning bolt.
Yeah, there are some bizarre things.
Some of these icons are so silly.
One of the most bizarre things is if you bring up an icon and you hover over it, but like don't select it, and then you press a number, the icon appears with the number.
Oh.
Which it took me ages to find out how to do that. Because I knew I'd seen somewhere like someone having a counter with a number on it. And then you have to basically hover over it again, press 0 and select it to get rid of it. So I was looking for a way to basically go, instead of going, oh, right, okay, here's 5 counters for like 5 enemies, just having one counter with like the number 5 next to it. And I was sure I'd seen that somewhere before on like a screenshot. But eventually I had to look on it. I found a random forum post on some like bizarre out of the way forum where someone's like, oh yeah, just press a number when you're selecting things, but I couldn't find any like official mention of it. Although to be fair, I was quite tired when I was reading the documentation, so. And as I'm sure you're observing now, the more tired I get, the more monotone my voice gets. Unfortunately. Well, that, and I've got a bad case of hay fever at the minute, so.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
It's all right, it happens. It's hardly the worst thing in the world, is it? Oh, and I'm a bit snotty for a few days. Okay. So I think that's about everything tested, to be honest. Is there anything you want, any questions you have about it or using it, or are you happy with it? So like I said,
I'm very happy with it.
My idea is to give it a go for the next session, because obviously the next session's the sort of tournament of the 4 wins. It's going to be a sort of, not to say that it's an unimportant session, because obviously there's quite a lot of stuff going on there, but it's a session where if a few things don't work as they should, it's easy enough to like switch it off and recover and go straight on with it. Whereas if you're in the middle of like some deep sort of pivotal personal plot, I'd rather not be having to have you guys like mess around and go, oh, this isn't working, that's not working. I'd rather just be able to get on with the plot. Although I'm hoping you're all fair, probably not your character, admittedly, but I'm hoping that whoever chooses to enter the tournament of the 4 wins, I'm guessing for Sheaf and undoubtedly probably Matthew's character, will fare slightly better than the flashback NPCs.
Yeah.
Okay, we seem to have lost Jenny there for a moment.
No, you haven't.
Oh, there you are. That was weird. So your picture suddenly froze, muted. It's still there.
It said
it's
my
still
connection was lost.
That's weird. It's still at the bottom of my screen. Then instantaneously you reappeared again with like your mute on.
I was going to say something. I forgot what it was. I can just see. Oh, that was it. I can just see Daisuke just screaming around the arena on a rascal or something.
Well, like I said, obviously I wasn't quite so bothered about your flashback NPCs getting like their asses slapped all around the arena. That was absolutely fine. I'm hoping the player characters will like either last a bit longer or sort of know when to get while the going's good. Because whilst it suited the sort of mood of the flashback, I think it'd be a bit unfortunate or a bit anticlimactic if the players are like, oh yeah, we're going to do the tournament of the 4 wins, a step into the arena. It's like, you are out of the tournament. Or worse, you are dead.
Yeah,
well, anyway, look on the bright side. Look on the bright side, though.
What?
After the tournament of the 4 wins, your new character might be the lead and only member of the party. It's probably not the way you might have chosen to get a promotion, but I'm interested to see actually whether Yoshida's actually going to get involved in it. Because obviously Batu is like, he's got his whole,
Of course Yoshida's going to get involved in it. He's fucking Yoshida.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I know he's a bit headstrong in it. The character always rushes into everything, but I certainly know Matthew's like watched the flashback episodes. I'm hoping that the sort of drubbing the NPCs got, who were fairly competent, might at least give him pause for thought. I mean, we know Batu's going to go in because he's got his whole like got to be the best assassin in the world sort of thing going for him. So he's gonna. I'm sure he's no doubt going to whoop out his like various martial arts styles to give that a go. I think it just remains to be seen whether like Yoshida's going to be drawn into it with him or not. And if when I do put this video out and you're watching this in the future, Matthew, and I've already horribly killed your character in a tournament of the 4 wins, I'll just apologise now in advance. No, I'm sure it won't come to that, to be perfectly honest. But we shall see. Because most of the tournament, all joking apart, most of the tournament of the 4 wins, people don't generally kill their opponents. I mean, even your own sort of NPCs in the flashback didn't die in the arena. Granted, they were quite horribly maimed and sort of like beaten up, but
yeah.
I'd hope that if like someone took a serious drubbing like that and it was their actual character, then there might be a bit more sort of, I'll throw in the towel or I'll like surrender honorably, rather than sort of like, oh, I know I've got like both my legs broken and like one of my arms is like hanging off, but I'm still good. I can still make it.
'Tis but a scratch.
That's it. Although I'm looking forward to seeing like how many like dance references you can get into it if he is drawn into the tournament. I'm almost imagining him sort of like tangoing his way out into the arena, almost what they call them, like, or perhaps like a cape matador style or something.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine him
now
sort of
for the
swirling a
tango
cape
de
off?
muerte.
That's it. I can imagine him sort of swirling a cape off around his neck and sort of like throwing it onto the sands or something. That'd be quite cool.
Oh dear. Well, I'm assuming Taji's still asleep.
I would assume so, but to be honest, I think we've pretty much tested everything.
Yeah.
We obviously, I'll have a look at the video after this once it's streamed to my channel, make sure it all looks all right and it works as it seems to have done whilst I've been doing this. But I think pretty much we've tested it on the app in Google Hangouts. We've tested it using the screen share option, so I'll be able to see how that works. If my basic plan for the sessions is to normally have it on the app, because I don't think we actually need people to see the virtual tabletop most of the time. I can't think of any at the minute, but if the main reason I wanted to check the screen share out is because if there do come any segments where I think it'd be actually worthwhile showing people who are watching the virtual tabletop, and obviously it doesn't doing so doesn't interfere with the game, then I can easily just sort of have it open in another window and jump to the screen share. But I can't foresee any situations where that would really be applicable, but it's not impossible, so I'd like to have the option there. Not to reopen the debate about whether people should like do stuff on Hangouts for like the audience benefit, but
well,
you know, it's always nice to at least sort of keep it in mind. Although I do agree with people that it shouldn't actually like impact the game. I think the game sort of has to come, and the players have to come sort of first and foremost, and then if without impacting that, you can give a thought to anyone who might be watching the video later, then great.
On a psychological note, you could say if it enhances the game for the players, and the players will be more enhanced, and then their performances will be more enhanced for the audience.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I do like thinking, certainly for myself when I've been a player, that it knowing that other people are going to be watching does get you to sort of like step up your role play a little bit, because you know it's potentially not just the other players and the GM who are going to be watching. It's like other people when the video is streamed to a YouTube channel. So I certainly know I always sort of keep it a little bit in the back of my mind.
Ooh.
Right, well, I think if there's nothing else and you've got no further questions, I can quite happily end the broadcast there, and I'll check the video later on.